Without us, she's still a waitress. Sam drags Meghan to court for lying about family history to play victim. Meghan Markle is preparing for what she hopes will be the final showdown in a libel lawsuit brought by her sister, which strikes to the core of her narrative about her childhood. The Duchess of Sussex's lawyer, Michael Kump, vowed in March 2022 to give the defamation claim the minimum attention necessary, which is all it deserves. More than a year later, and Meghan's team are preparing to go back into court to get the case thrown out for what would be the third and final time if they are successful. The two sides have requested a court date to thrash out their differences, and it will be a must-win clash for Samantha. At its heart, Samantha is attempting to overturn Meghan's claim that they barely know each other, as well as what her lawyers have said, describing them as a rags-to-riches story about an underprivileged upbringing in which she had a salad bar at Sizzler because that was all that they could afford. Samantha argues that she was highly involved in Meghan's upbringing. However, the two sisters are not the only protagonists in the account. Also crucial to the picture she paints are their father, Thomas Markle, and most controversially of all, Meghan's mother, Dory Ragland. Meghan told her Netflix docuseries, Harry and Meghan, "I was with my mom during the week and with my dad on the weekends, and my dad lived alone, and he had two adult children who had moved out of the house." Samantha says the statement in episode 2 was defamatory, and her lawyers said in a court filing seen by Newsweek, quote, "In reality, Meghan lived with her father full-time and visited her mother on some weekends. When Meghan was in junior high school, Samantha lived on the property and was always home when Meghan came home from school. Often she drove Meghan to school or accompanied her father when her father drove. After school, Samantha and Thomas Markle would help her with her homework, and he took Meghan shopping on the weekends. During their childhood, Meghan was very close to her older sister, despite their 17-year difference in age. Samantha was more than a model to follow. She was also someone who regularly went with Thomas Markle as he drove Meghan to and from school and acting classes. Amongst many other things, Samantha helped Meghan with homework, took her on shopping trips to the local mall, and overall had a good to wonderful relationship with her younger sister. When Samantha first filed the case, she referenced Meghan's account of growing up with financial hardship, including as described in a letter to Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer as part of the Paid Leave for All campaign. Meghan wrote, quote, "I grew up on the $4.99 salad bar at Sizzler. It may have cost less back then. To be honest, I can't remember, but what I do remember was the feeling. I knew how hard my parents worked to afford this because, even at $5, eating out was something special and I felt lucky. As a Girl Scout, when my troop would go to dinner for a big celebration, it was back to that same salad bar or the old spaghetti factory because that's what those families could afford to do. I started working at the local frozen yogurt shop at the age of 13. I waited tables, babysat, and piecemeal jobs together to cover odds and ends. I worked all my life and saved when and where I could, but even that was a luxury because usually it was about making ends meet and having enough to pay my rent and put gas in my car." Samantha's original complaint read, Meghan falsely claimed that A, she essentially raised herself from virtual poverty, B, she was forced from the age of 13 to work in a series of low-paying jobs to make ends meet, C, she worked to pay for her Northwestern college education, and D, she drove an old car with malfunctioning doors and had to enter and exit via the trunk. She also said she had no siblings and virtually no contact with her family, and that her family could only afford the $4.99 salad bar at Sizzler's. Samantha's case has already been rejected twice, and those specific references were lost in the process, but she still maintains that Meghan has been pushing a false rags to riches narrative.